It's the biggest art heist in history. It happened 23 years ago this week. A pair of thieves duped the security guards at Boston's Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum and took off with 13 masterpieces worth an estimated $500 million. Now, the thieves spent 81 minutes inside that museum, and what they did inside largely remains a mystery to this day. Though the FBI now says it believes it knows who's behind the heist, when it happened, suspicion quickly fell on the museum's security guards. For the first time, one of those guards is sharing his story on camera in an exclusive interview with our Randy Kay.
There was no trace of the thieves. Authorities got an idea of what the bad guys looked like from the two night watchmen, the only ones to see the thieves up close. But it all happened so fast. They were tied up and blindfolded within minutes. Watchman Rick Abbott gave this description of the guards to a sketch artist.
So the guy who was dealing with me was kind of taller and skinny, and he was wearing his gold-framed, like, round glasses, if I remember correctly, and he had a mustache. And I remember before he arrested me that it looked really greasy. I remember thinking that was really, he was using some funky kind of wax on that thing or something like that. It was probably a fake mustache.
But the descriptions from Rick and the other guard didn't satisfy the FBI. Even Rick admits the sketch they produced didn't really look like either of the two men.
I, remember at the time thinking, there's no way they're going to catch these people from this.
Unfortunately, and that's one of the frustrating aspects of this case, is the descriptions that were given were very vague, very generic.
Jeff Kelly from the FBI's Boston office is the lead agent on this case. Without a good description and virtually no other public information about the thieves' identity, the investigators begin to focus their attention on the museum employees.
These guys had they had a level of comfort in that museum that really points to the fact that if it wasn't an inside job, they definitely had inside information.
Both the FBI and the museum security director are stuck on the fact that the thieves spent 81 minutes inside the museum. Anthony Amore says that is 8 times as long as the typical art theft.
There was a covert button, just like you would see in a bank, and the thieves knew somehow that hadn't been hit, as evidenced by how much time they spent in the museum.
They weren't at all concerned, 81 minutes, that the police were on their way.
Clearly not concerned that the police were coming, so how they knew that the guard didn't hit that alarm is a mystery to me.
But did the thieves really know the alarms had not been set off? Or could that be why they waited a while to start dismantling the art? Remember, motion detectors didn't pick up the thieves' trail until 24 minutes after they entered the museum.
Apparently, there was half hour between, or 20 minutes between when they tied us up and when they actually headed into the galleries to start doing it. And I've seen a lot of people questioning, like, well, what were they doing? And I'm thinking, they were probably waiting to see if I did press the panic button. They were probably waiting to see if the cops were going to show up.
According to the FBI, nearly 9 of every 10 museum heists have an inside component. Rick Abbott, the guard who let the thieves in, was interrogated for days. He also took lie detector tests. He was never charged with anything, and when we talked to him, he maintained he had nothing to do with the heist. And what about the regular night watchman who called in sick that night? Rick remembers after he buzzed the thieves into the museum, they asked him if he was alone.
I wonder if are you here alone? Because there were provisions for a single guard to be there. I have wondered if are you here alone meant, did they get anybody to come in? But I don't know.
But that night watchman, the one who called in sick, was never charged either. In fact, no museum employee has ever been charged with anything in connection with the crime, though investigators say no one has been completely cleared either. So with no apparent connections with museum employees, who else could have been involved? Notorious art thief Miles Connor was already a known figure among art thieves in Boston. In 1975, he stole a Rembrandt from the Museum of Fine Arts. But in 1990, at the time of the Gardner theft, he was in jail and no known connections were ever found. Mobster David Turner from Boston also was considered a possible suspect, with various publications pointing out the resemblance between the FBI sketch and Turner. But no definitive evidence linking Turner to the heist has ever surfaced. Boston crime boss Whitey Bulger was also rumored to be involved, with speculation he stole the artwork in order to smuggle it over to the IRA, the Irish Republican Army.
Certainly, if you're looking at Boston, which has a huge Irish population, and it's not unusual, or it would be you wouldn't be incorrect in assuming that there might be some connection to the IRA. The IRA has done it before, where they've taken paintings and basically ransomed them back for money. They've done this in the past, and because of the connection to Boston, it's not improbable. But again, like many of the other theories, there's been nothing concrete that we've developed over the years.
The Justice Department has publicly disavowed any link between Bulger and the Gardner Museum. And so the search for the thieves continued, and at the same time, the effort to recover priceless works of art.